All right, welcome. Zoe, are you going to kick us off or am I kicking us off tonight? Yeah.
Kick us off.
Mm.
Alrighty. So, welcome everyone. I'm Zoe, and you've already heard Jules. Thanks so much for joining us today on this cloudy day. I keep expecting it to rain at any moment, but it's open for
Mhm.
you.
Well, the cold
Um,
front is coming in now, and I'm very grateful for it. I don't know about you.
have you had enough of the summer temperatures? I'm ready for it.
Yeah, I'm sort of ready for it, but I need the nights to cool down as well. Mm.
Fair enough. Anyways, just a little bit of housekeeping before we kind of get into it. We expect this sort of webinar to run for about an hour. Kids, pets, super welcome, can join on screen. It's all good. And if you need to duck out for a moment, totally fine. Feel free to do so.
Mm.
Obviously, we understand that everyone's leading busy lives. So we really do appreciate you taking the moment to join us on here. And you never know with any like online webinars, and there's a lot of Zoom fatigue, understandably, going around. So it means a lot to us.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, we hope that you'll learn something useful about K9ease, but more importantly, how to help your furry friend. Over to
Mm.
you, Jules.
Yeah, lovely. Thanks, Zoe. So the webinar that I sort of planned tonight had some interactive pieces. Given there are smaller numbers, I might just change those and make that something that we do just here together in our little group. Um, because I'm a somatic therapist and educator first and foremost. So my webinars are not sort of straightforward bunch of slides telling you information. It's my belief that you can get that information from our website. You can get it from other information sources as opposed to being in person. There is going to be a little bit of a more traditional webinar type feel about 20 minutes in, where you'll get the basics on safe and sound protocol. And there'll be a Q&A at around the 40-minute mark if there's anything specific you'd like to ask about the animals in your life and how we work. But as I said, because I'm somatic, first and foremost, I would love it if you would indulge me in a little bit of an embodied experience to kick us off. Are we good for that? Yeah, those folks who are listening, just engage to whatever level is right for you at the moment. If you're listening and you get a chance just to pause for a moment and drop into the experience, that would be really wonderful. But if it's not possible, that's absolutely fine. You'll get a recording, and if you want to do it at a later date, you can do so then. So my invitation is for you now to take a moment and just feel for the surfaces that are supporting your body right now. Take a moment to feel for maybe the chair under your thighs, floor beneath your feet, perhaps your back supported, and just get comfortable. Now, if you're comfortable and it supports your capacity to look inward, I invite you to close your eyes, but you also do that to the level of whatever comfort level is right for you. And really just letting our eyes close and noticing the natural breath. The natural breath is the one that we're not trying to control. We're not trying to do any kind of breath work at this time. So noticing constant flow, the in and out of your breath. You might find it helpful to place a hand on your belly or a hand on your chest. And now I would love to invite you to bring to mind the memory of a time when you felt really, really great with a pet who's been in your life. It could be a current pet or it could be a departed pet, but some relationship that you've had with one of your animals, one of your furry friends, where there was a real love bond there and you made each other feel fantastic. Remember their smell, the way they felt as you stroked them, perhaps. Maybe remembering the way that they made you smile. Breathe in that memory, a deeper breath. You might like to speak their name in your head. Maybe you notice a little lift in your cheeks as you recall this time with your beloved pet. Maybe you notice a little sadness if that you're thinking about a pet who's no longer with you. A bittersweet experience of loving and losing someone so very special to you. Keep noticing your natural breath as you allow the memory to play in your mind and you feel for the connection and the bond between you. Mm. Mm. And soon I'm going to invite you to open your eyes again. And when I do, for those people who do have their videos on, or if you can see the video, you can participate too, even if we can't see you. I would like to invite you to stay with those connected feelings, closeness that you cultivated and brought into your awareness with that memory, that lovely memory of your pet. And gently, when you're ready, moving your eyes back to the screen and connecting with the faces of the people here on the call. Mm, mm, mm. So, just shake off that little practice, a little grounding activity, a little arriving activity. K9ease was founded out of a love and an obsession of finding new ways to live life with more gentleness, more ease, more kindness between creatures, whether human or animals. Also a love for animals, but also animal-human partnerships and the joy that we get from those. I founded K9ease in 2023, but it was really tricky to get things started solo. And it wasn't until I was connected with Zoe in 2024 and we formed a partnership that things started to get moving again. And Zoe is just a fantastic partner to have. She is enthusiastic, creative, capable, multi-skilled, and completely dog obsessed and devoted. Is that true? Is that a
Very
fair
true.
account, Zoe?
Very fair.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, so Safe and Sound Protocol. Safe and Sound
Yeah.
Protocol. Go for it.
So what we're focusing on today in this webinar is our offering of the Safe and Sound Protocol, SSP for short. And it's an evidence-based polyvagal, so based on neuroscience, informed therapy, originally designed for humans, which honestly, like it works in dogs in a really similar way to the way that it was intended for humans.
Mm.
Turns out it can bring about more ease, it can relieve anxiety, it can really help reduce reactivity in dogs for sure, and probably other pets too. We'll get there hopefully. Um, we've already discovered that it works. We already have happy clients
Mm-hmm.
among us here on the call as well, which is super exciting. Hello, cats.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry, there will be time for questions, around you say it works. You
Yeah.
say it works for dogs. Um, we can get into that later and you'll have a chance to ask any questions.
Mm.
First, I thought we could watch a short little video featuring our very own Melbourne local, Cass and Shelton, and their doggos.
Oh,
Chile and Cuba.
oh, thank you for bringing
Hey, here they
to the
are.
call. Oh, that's lovely. Oh, fantastic.
The doggo client herself.
Well, we do say that dogs and kids are welcome on screens, but we do love the dogs in particular. I locked the door so the
Never you
kids
can
couldn't
resist
come in
that
the room
face.
tonight. So, yeah. Yeah, so I hope you don't mind us presenting you now, Cass, since Zoe just did
Sure.
that. Cass is one of our sort of raving fan clients. Chile really was changed very significantly. Are you
Yes.
do you want to speak a little bit to that, or should we just watch the
Yeah,
video?
sure.
Yeah, go
So
on.
yeah, this is Tilly, and she's been quiet. Well, she's only panting now because it's actually really hot in my
Mm,
house, and she's been to the park. So, but she used to have a lot of anxiety attacks, where she would pant and she would throw up, in the car when there's loud sounds, and since we did the protocol, how long ago was it, Jules? It wasn't, it's
April?
been a few months now,
Hmm. April, I
but
think you
it's got,
started.
sorry,
I think you started in April.
in April,
Was it
okay.
that early?
And it
Maybe.
just gets progressively better.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
we can do really long drives now, and she's not throwing up, she's not panting. She'll just relax in the car. When there's loud noises when we are out, because sometimes we'll go to bars and things and take the dogs because our other dog's really comfortable, and there'll be really, lots of people and loud noises.
Mm,
She might start to get a little bit anxious, and then she recovers really
mm,
quickly
which
herself.
is amazing.
Um, yeah, and it just me, and even when there's sort of construction in the area and around at the park, you'll hear about like metal banging against metal. That's one of her triggers,
Mm,
and she doesn't even respond to it anymore.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's just made things so much easier.
Mm,
And the protocol as well, just for us, is when we were doing it, it was just really easy and it was a really nice time.
mm,
We
connected.
invested what, half an hour a day for, maybe we did it only 4 or 5 times a week, potentially,
Hmm.
I think,
Hmm.
5 times a week
Hmm. Makes
over
sense.
over a few months.
Yeah.
And we'd do it just before we went to sleep. And it was just, yeah, it was just a really lovely time for all of us where we just relax and calm all of our nervous systems would be calmed.
Yeah.
And yeah, yeah, it's quite amazing the change in her.
That is so exciting to hear that, in fact, it still seems to be improving by pieces. And it makes sense because, of course, once we then have positive experiences out and about, then after the bottom up, and we'll talk a little bit about this in the sort of slideshow aspect, but this is a therapy that works from bottom up as opposed to top down therapeutic approaches. So top down is like cognitive and thinking and brainy stuff. Bottom up is working with the nervous system, so that's somatics. And this
Yeah.
is bottom up therapy, but Chile, she may have a small brain, but she does have cognitive processes and can go to a bar, have an experience of finding this not scary anymore, and register that, and then build on those experiences in just the same way as we would. Whereas
Yeah.
before, it felt like it was more of a negative, descending spiral of not only was her nervous system rattled, but she was having these bad experiences, which is likely to have primed her for more bad experiences. So that's
Hmm.
really exciting. That's really
Yeah.
exciting. I
That's
love it.
awesome.
Can
Yeah.
I
It's
ask
awesome.
something to you, Cass,
Mhm.
about getting started with Chile? What was it like doing it for the first time? Because it's like you have to sort of set it up and figure out the headphones, and is the dog lying down? Is the dog staying still? What was that
So what we
experience
would
like?
do, so for the others on the call, you actually listening to there's music or, yeah, sound, I guess, that you put on. So we'd put on a speaker in our bedroom. We would both lie down on the bed and we would listen to bilateral at the time, and then Chili would listen to the other music. She would come up on the bed next to us, and we would just just comfort her the initial session. she would started panting and getting quite like, so we had to pause and we did that, and then we started again, and then that happened only the very first session, and after that, as soon as the we got ready and the music went on, she's jumped up onto the bed, knowing, oh, we're doing the protocol, and she would
Mhm.
lie there with us, and we would, pat her if we needed to.
Mhm.
Um, and then when it had finished, because we couldn't hear when it was finished, because we were listening to something else, she would let us know because she'd just like jump off of the bed and go, oh yeah, we're done.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was really
Mm.
cute. She kind
Mm.
of really enjoyed this time that she had with us. So, yeah, she'd be in the middle of us on the bed and she loved it.
You're getting like
Awesome.
focused attention from both of you. What's not to
Yeah,
love? Like, oh, I'm getting
yeah,
something that
totally.
T-Bits isn't getting.
And
Yeah.
now, and it
I
was
just love the
interesting because
autonomy.
our
Mm.
other dog was in the room as well, and
Yeah.
he doesn't suffer. He's a very confident dog. He doesn't suffer from anxiety at all, and the sound didn't impact him at all. He would just
Mhm.
lie down and slept on the
Yeah.
floor.
Yeah. And for those people who are watching and listening later, I'll mention that the bilateral that Cass mentioned is like just bilateral music on YouTube Music, and we provide one that we recommend, but you can pretty much choose what you like, just to cover your own ears during it. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah,
Yeah, and then we'd be co-regulating with her, so really sort of tuning into her as we were. Yeah, so
absolutely.
it was beautiful. It actually helped our sleep
Mm. Yeah, you
as
say you went
well.
to bed earlier, and you're
Yeah,
actually
we'd
like
go to bed
winding
earlier.
down, possibly fewer devices just before bed because you're listening to something else. I
Yeah,
think we could all do with a bit of that, couldn't we?
yeah, it was kind of like
Yeah,
really good sleep hygiene that we then ended up
yeah.
doing ourselves.
And
So
how's the
that
sleep
was
hygiene going?
no, it's
Okay.
still pretty
Oh,
good.
yeah,
Yeah,
excellent. Yeah,
yeah.
good stuff.
Nice.
Mm, cool. I feel
Thank
like we
you.
sort of jumped into the Q&A bit, which I love the way that it's just evolving like that. But maybe I'll go through the slides to give people a bit of a piece of information, and then we can take questions after slides. And we might finish a bit earlier today because we've got a much smaller group than I was anticipating. So sort of taking out one of the activities as well. Sound good?
Okay.
All right. So I'll just share. Tell me if that works, please, Zoe. Is that as it should be? Yep. All right.
Yeah,
So
looks correct.
thank you. Thank you. All right. Transforming your dog's life with SSP. All right. Yeah. One of the greatest things about SSP, in my opinion, is that it's non-invasive and non-pharmaceutical. And I think that appeals to people for different reasons. Many dogs can do SSP just once in a lifetime, like as we just heard from Cass. Their experience with Chili is that things continuing to get better as time goes on. Other dogs might benefit from repeating after 3 to 6 months, depending on the way they respond to the therapy and the cause of anxiety and what's going on at home and the level of anxiety they're coming in with. Like a dysregulated nervous system, though, in my experience, needs to be healed from the bottom up as opposed to the sort of band-aid approach of using meds, which will likely be needed for a lifetime if they're even effective at all. It's a listening therapy, as we have been talking about. Your dogs will listen to 5 hours in total of patented music, which has been filtered specifically to target different aspects of the vagus nerve. And it does that by stimulating the stapedius muscle in the middle ear, which is a tiny little muscle attached to the staples bone, which connects in. It's part of that polyvagal structure, that heart, face, heart, gut, which is this huge nerve, the longest nerve in the body. Like Zoe was saying, dogs experience dysregulation through similar neurobiology to humans. So you will receive access to the listening therapy the same way as you would with humans. We have a slightly different intake process because dogs, although they have similar neurobiology, we have specific questions to understand the level of anxiety that your dog is experiencing. So things like less barking, fewer symptoms of anxiety, less panting and pacing and fear, aggression, hiding, shaking. These are the sort of behaviors that we'll see improvements in. And these are all the things you just mentioned when they cast, like the shake, maybe less the aggression. I don't think that was Chili's problem, was it?
No, but the
shaking,
shaking and then throwing up, which is just
yeah, just terrible for her, right? So yes, you will receive the listening therapy on an app, and you'll have access to the app, which will record and hold your place within the listening sequence, so you can just press play when you're ready to have that quality time to connect with your anxious pup. How does it do that? Well, the autonomic nervous system is the one that's regulating all the things like heart rate and breathing and digestion, bowel and bladder functions too. And
We've got food to bring in.
sorry, I've been distracted by loud sounds outside. I don't know if you can hear them. Excuse me. So I've just lost my spot. So yes, the autonomic nervous system, they were working on this bottom-up technology where we're accessing the vagus nerve, the autonomic nervous system, directly through the ears, and it's tuning that vagus nerve. It's tuning it so that your pet or yourself, if you're the one receiving it, has more choice in the face of being stressed out. So stress can still happen. And like Cass was just saying, it's about coming back to a state of regulation after stress. So that's what's really exciting about it. It's not something that you use at the time when the dog is stressed. And all this information is provided to you as part of the K9ease package as well, your personalized program. Just going to close my windows. This one. Noisy children outside. Mine. I'm going to complain. They're my children. The vagus nerve, the longest nerve in the body. And what I'd really love you to have a look at in this slide is to have a think about yourself and your pet and what it feels like to be in ventral vagal, to feel engaged, to feel safe, to be able to play, to enjoy pats, and to be able to process food, have healthy digestion. I think we can all agree that these are qualities that we want for our pets' lives. And we all know stress. Some of us know chronic stress. In dogs, that sympathetic vagal arousal looks like those common symptoms of stress that we talk about: shaking, uncontrollable barking, hiding, lunging, changes in digestion, and vomiting. And in very extreme cases, all mammals will, under enough stress, collapse as well. Delivering these two dogs, this is Lulu in Sydney at the top, and that's Misty. I'm trying to remember where she's from, New Hampshire. You don't actually need to put headphones on your dog. She did that, but you know, the dog's comfy, so it doesn't matter. The headphones can just be beside your dog, and you can see that Lulu in Sydney was actually listening from her phone. I was hoping Lulu's owner was going to be here tonight, actually. She did get a ticket, but she's not here. Anyway, 5 hours is your commitment. 5 hours is your commitment to potentially change the course of your dog's ease and contentment and safety and fun and happiness in their life. In the picture here, I'll tell you about this dog as well. As Patricia, this is Lucky. Patricia's mum was also hoping to come tonight, and she really wanted to be here, but she's in California and it's 1 a.m. So unfortunately, she's not here either. The commitment is 5 hours. You need to use the protocol when you and the dog are feeling nice and settled and safe. This is not a tool to calm them down. It's more of a practice that you would use beforehand to increase your dog's resilience. As Cass was saying, about 30 minutes a day is what works. In very rare cases, like when we look at your intake form, in extreme cases of anxiety, I will recommend a shorter period to begin with and to check in with me and titrate that as per how your dog's responding. So you do get a lot of personal input from myself and Zoe if you need it. Lots of dogs don't need it. You just get to take the program and do it yourself. But if you need extra support, we're here for you. You just engage in a relaxing activity or you rest and relax while listening with your dog. Little quote from me in there. I just love the psychoeducation aspect of this and being able to work with people to improve the nervous systems of humans and dogs at the same time. This makes me very happy. And I will stop sharing that now. Hello. Adrian and Heather, do you have any questions? Cass, do you have any questions after reading that? I know you know the process. Hmm.
No. I don't have any questions. I just think it's awesome.
Thank you.
It was amazing.
It really
It
has.
was amazing how easy it was and the impact it's had for her.
Which is absolutely wonderful. I mean, my experience delivering to some dogs is some need a bit more support than Chili needed. It seemed really straightforward, and for dogs, definitely more than humans, it's often straightforward. But just if anyone's listening who has a really anxious dog or a dog who's been through, serious trauma in the past, we are here to actually step you through the process more slowly as well. So you do get support if you need it. But yes,
Heather
it's
in the
also
comments.
for generalized anxiety. Is there something in the comments?
Yeah, I just want to say, Heather in the comment wrote, I think I would enjoy a bit of relaxation.
Definitely. Yep, I hear you, Heather. And that's what
It's actually
really...
one of the things that I find really intriguing or appealing about SSP is one, the co-regulation, because I mean you pointed this out, Cass, like you got to also just relax and take that time for yourself. And also the autonomy, I think, stands out to me. It's quite different from, I don't know, anything that feels like forcing on your dog. Because the dog is essentially consenting to it by remaining there, listening to the sounds. Like she can walk up and walk away, leave the room whenever she wants, right? Like she does when she knows it's over. And that to me it's that added level of respecting the animal because they get to opt in and equally opt out if it's not working for them.
Yeah.
And you're also there with them, sort of monitoring. In a sense, you're not hovering over them, but if you notice the panting, if you notice any sign of distress, you can pause.
Yeah.
So you're not forcing them into any kind of uncomfortable situation.
Yeah, that's a really valid point. I love that idea of them opting in to the process.
Yeah.
So obviously allowing space for them to move away and taking notes, so pausing if there is an issue. Yeah, nice one,
Yeah,
Zoe.
she definitely opted in. That was quite
Yeah.
interesting. I
Quite
was so
interesting, yeah.
surprised. I'm like, oh, yeah. She
Yeah.
just knew, oh, it's over now.
Yeah.
I think she quite liked it. She looked forward to this little time we had together.
Lovely. I've got Heather just asking, how soon in the program do you expect to see improvements? So in general, we'd say within sort of 3 to 6 weeks of completing the program, you could be sure to see some improvements. And I think it's also worth noting that the improvements, because they're so small and incremental, that maybe you start noticing around the 4-week mark and go, actually, something happened at about 2 weeks, and that was different. And now I can see the trajectory between the two. You start noticing that it's just because they're each of them so little subtle things and they accumulate over time. So 6 weeks is the sort of optimal, this is where we start to see change afterwards. Heather, that was your experience, wasn't it, Cass?
Yeah, there was a few weeks before we saw anything, and then it just kept more and
Coming.
more things we would notice, and it was like,
Mm.
wow, okay. And yeah, and then recently when we did a much longer drive, we're like, oh, she's
Yeah.
just lying down
Yeah.
and resting.
Yeah. And I really think that by this point, though, I mean, with your 6 months after completing, what you're experiencing is that more of the cognitive, I now know I am safe and I can, dog language, and I can actually look forward to experiences without that memory of that stress. It's not being reminded on the bottom up sense. But yeah, there's those two pieces working in synchrony now. Yeah.
Yeah, and it means I don't have to sit in the back seat of our convertible with her on my lap when we go everywhere,
Mm.
which is awesome. I can
Totally.
sit in the
Sitting in
front
the
seat
back seat of
again
convertible sounds like hell when you're off for a nice weekend.
with a dog on my lap just so
Vomiting.
to calm her down. So that's great. I have the front seat again.
Lovely. Um,
Mm.
can it be done? Got another question with a dog who's just started medication for anxiety. That's a really great question, Adrian. I would be tempted to wait for the period of time that the medicating physician says that you should start noticing results for the one. If you want to tell whether the anxiety medication's working, if you're not fussed about finding that information out, you can absolutely start it at the same time. It's not that one would interfere with the other in any way. I would never recommend like a human to stop taking anxiety medication before doing the program. So if it's something that they're already on, then I would just continue with it. But the only thing is going to be working out which one's working. So you might want to, if you want to strategize around understanding the results, it might be worth pausing on starting, seeing what the changes in the anxiety medication demonstrate, and then beginning with the SSP. Does that make sense? I'm wondering if the Adrian's going to get a chance. Hi.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense. Thanks.
How long has your dog been on anxiety meds?
Just recently, I think just 2 weeks. He
2 weeks.
got really bad and sort of
Yeah.
uncontrollable, and then went to the vet twice. And they said they put him on it, but you've got to keep him on it for like a number of months. You can't just stop. So
That medication is not just a stop-start thing. Look, in terms of, as I say, the impact of SSP is not going to be lessened through taking anxiety medication, and stopping anxiety medication is likely to be more harmful than continuing it when your intention is to continue it. So look, we can chat about, if you're interested, about how to weave the two together, and maybe just get a bit more information from you as well about what the vet's recommended in terms of the medication for the dog.
yeah.
Can I ask what the dog's name is so I can stop saying the dog?
Well, his name is Logan.
Logan. Lovely. Logan. Nice. Oh. Well, I hope Logan, does find some relief.
He's getting a bit better, which is good.
Is he with you now?
He is, yeah.
Yeah, lovely. Mm. Mm. How does that sound? Do you want to maybe reach out to, or I can reach out to you as well, and have a chat with you about the specific medication that he's on and what advice you've been given around that?
Yeah, we can chat afterwards, yeah.
Yeah, great. Sounds good.
We have a question in the comments whether the program is global.
Yes, absolutely is. There's no requirement for an in-person component. It's you delivering to your dog. In fact, when I started out in 2023, I was focused on a sort of social media market, and that was mostly US based. So I've had clients in the UK, the US, Singapore, all over Australia, one in Greece as well. Yes, that was the other one. Yeah, so yes, absolutely global. Yeah,
There's
available
also no
all over the
real
world.
language barrier. It's a
Well,
nice
not
little
as long as you
bonus.
can understand, because there
Beyond
is an intake.
understanding,
Yeah, there's an intake
yeah,
form, and I need to be
yeah.
able to get those results to be able to make recommendations about how quickly to do it. Like Cass was saying, how easy it was to do just 30 minutes a day. That is often going to be the case, but not always. And I need to make sure that we're doing our best to protect you and your dog from any adverse effects.
Another frequent question is about the like how long you can expect it to last. Is this something that you would expect to repeat
Yeah.
or not?
Well, Cass was just saying how she's continuing to see benefits, having completed just the once. I did have someone in the US do it twice, like wanting to repeat it, having seen sort of a small results in that first round and then waited 6 months. Was it 3 months? 3 months, 3 months, and repeated it and saw better results with the second round. As a human, I have done it on myself twice, 4 years apart. And I think it's worth repeating if we're living in chronic stress. For a lot of dogs, though, if life in the environment is quite nice at home and there's some level of anxiety, whether that's innate in the dog or whether there was an incident or traumatic history, whatever the reason, if the environment's comfortable and the dog's not living in chronic stress like us humans, they're unlikely to need to repeat it as long as you're happy with the results the first time round. Yeah.
So in that sense, it's like a really long lasting approach that goes to the root of it, right? I think that's
Exactly.
important to understand the difference between SSP versus certain other methods that may be more acute.
Mhm.
Like this is
It's not a
kind of
band-aid, is
taking
it?
it a step back.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a band-aid. Exactly. That's a good way of putting it.
It's actually treating the root cause of anxiety. And I could wax lyrical about brain anatomy and interpersonal neurobiology and trauma neurobiology,
Travel
but I'm
with
not
when
going
it
to
is
do
that.
that. I'm not going to do that. All I'm going to say is, treating it somatically, like from the bottom up, is, becoming more widely accepted as really the only way to deal with chronic stress and trauma. Yeah. And, we can't do talk therapy with dogs. Well, some people do. I don't do talk therapy with dogs, but we do one other thing. So do you want to just take a moment to tell us about our other offering?
Yeah, I'd love to. So I'm also offering EFT tapping, emotional freedom technique, which is another technique that was, originally designed for humans,
Mhm.
that I've gotten a lot of benefit from for my own anxiety and stress and all sorts, which involves tapping on acupressure points along the meridian. So it's another kind of somatic approach which essentially blends kind of that Eastern understanding of meridians and energy and acupressure with CBT, like our kind of cognitive behavioral therapy. So there's the physical element of tapping, and then there's the verbal talking. And turns out this can be applied to dogs or any pet as well. You can tap on the equivalent points on the pet, or you can tap on yourself on their behalf, which is called surrogate tapping. So, I mean, for example, let's say you want to do it for a cat. Not all cats are going to let you tap them on their head and stuff. They'll probably run away or scratch you. Stay safe, everyone.
Not a cat
In
person
which
here.
case, Um, in which case, you might opt to do surrogate tapping so you focus on the issue at hand or the emotion, while tapping on yourself. But with them in mind and their situation,
Mm.
which also seems to work really well. There's a lot of co-regulation. Yeah, that
Mm.
animals seem to still get a lot of benefit from.
Mm.
And tapping is something that you can use in a more acute way. So it is also long lasting because it does calm your nervous system and it's been proven to actually reduce cortisol levels, which is your stress hormone. Um, but it's also something for humans or for pets that you can use in the moment. So if you're
Mm.
in a stressful environment, if there's fireworks, for example, or it's a Christmas party and you just know the dog is going to get anxious because
Mm.
kind of we humans get anxious sometimes in these environments, right? It's completely understandable. And we have more control over our environment than they do typically. You can use tapping on them in those situations.
Mm.
So if it is a really specific time and place, you could use it, but you can
Mm.
also do it preventatively.
Mm. I
There's
think that's really
absolutely
great.
no harm in doing that either.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
It's
it can
it's
be
awesome that
combined with
you offer it.
SSP
Yeah.
in
It
that
can,
sense.
right? You can do one or we can do the other, or we can even use a combination of
Yeah.
the two. And Zoe and I
It's
just sort
basically
of,
really similar science.
yeah.
Like
Hmm.
like fundamentally they have the same theory behind them, which
Hmm.
is all about regulating the nervous system and
Yeah.
bringing us to that state of calm and peace and safety in our
Hmm.
bodies.
Yeah. That's it. And Zoe and I are just sort of nutting out how the two programs are going to work together. So we're going to be bringing out more material soon to let you know how those things can be combined if that's of interest. Yeah. Mm. And you've got intro appointments, haven't you, on the website? Is there access to your calendar if you want to book in for a discovery call about EFT?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Maybe we can
Yeah.
send that out with the email that goes out to participants as
Yeah,
well, and to
absolutely.
attendees who signed up in order to get the video. Yeah.
Yeah, so I've recently added some information about EFT to our website, so you can check that out on K9ease.com.
Hmm.
And there's a link to book in a free chat if you just want
Hmm.
to suss it out,
Yeah,
chat about it, learn more, be like, what the heck is this?
awesome. And we're going to put a little special gift to everyone who signed up in the email with the recording afterwards. So a little Christmas discount gift just for the people who signed up to this event. Shall we?
And yeah, just before we wrap up, feel free to share the recording. So
Mhm.
you will get a recording of this webinar
Yeah.
sent to you via email. And we'd love to just spread the word
Yeah.
about SSP for anyone who might be interested,
Mhm.
anyone who could benefit from just discovering that there are methods out there, that there
Mhm.
are
Alternatives.
non-meds
Yeah.
options as well, if that's of interest, or just anything to help the furry friends out there. You know, our heart goes
Mhm.
out to them and they can't really advocate for themselves. And so we feel like it's kind of our job to advocate for them.
It is our job, absolutely. And what a joyful job it is, though. Yeah. We feel very fortunate, don't we, to do this work. Mm, great. Well, I don't know, from my perspective, thank you to all the people who are watching. If you've gotten this far, you've done great, and we're really, really grateful. Um, thank you to people who attended, for your questions in the chat. Thank you, Chili. Chili, the first puppy who I managed to get a good video of. And the problem with starting in the US was it was very hard to create videos of the doggos and their owners. And she is such a beautiful puppy.
Yeah, she's a gorgeous girl.
She is a good girl. Thanks, Heather. Thanks, Adrian. Okay. We'll close there. How does that sound?